Hi, I'm Marley Bird and you're watching the Marley Bird YouTube channel. In this video, you are going to learn how to read a chart for the pineapple stitch. Now recently, I crocheted this shawl, which is called the Sidewalk Shawl by Kimberley McAlindin. It's a free pattern available over at redheart.com. As a matter of fact, there is a free video on how to make this entire shawl right here on the Marley Bird YouTube channel. But as I was crocheting it, I get really confused when I'm going through the instructions and looking at just the words. I don't know about you, but I will work through 4 or 5 stitches and then I will get lost as I go back and find where I was in the words and then go back and try and crochet a little bit more. So I find it really useful to look at crochet charts to keep track a little bit better. Now, I know not all patterns have crochet charts added to them, so I went ahead and had a crochet chart made for the Sidewalk Shawl, and I want to show you how to read that today. That way, in case you decide that the Sidewalk Shawl is for you and you are like me and want to have a chart to guide you along that will accompany the words of the pattern, you know exactly what to do. Look down here, I'm going to show you what I mean. Here is the pattern as is when I was working on the crochet shawl to show you here on YouTube how to crochet it. I was reading along the words and I would get confused and I was just like, going back and forth between telling you on the camera what to do and trying to look at the words on here what to do and then actually crocheting what to do. And it was just too much for me. So if I get rid of these words for me and I bring in the chart, I'm able to better understand what to do when I'm looking at this, but that's me. I know not everybody is like that, but I want to show you, those of you who are just like me out there, that this is a possibility. Now, if I'm looking at this chart and I bring this stitch in, look at this little swatch. This swatch represents what you're seeing on this chart, okay? When I'm reading a chart like this, I'm going to begin by reading, I'm going to grab my crochet hook to point along. I begin by reading these ovals down here at the bottom, which are the chain stitch, okay? So I begin reading my chains and I could count how many chains I have to do here, or I can refer back to the written instructions and know that I was supposed to chain 30. I can see based on this chart that my number 1 over here means I'm going to begin reading this chart over here on the right hand side and read it back this direction. You'll see that the number 2 is over here and we read it back this way. Number 3 is here and we read it back this way. You'll also notice that every other row is a different color. So that allows me to be able to better see what stitches go into what row. One row is dark gray, one row is black, the other is gray. So that becomes easier for me too. As I look over here, I can see here at the beginning that I'm going to put 2 doubles, chain 2 and 2 doubles all into the 5th chain from my hook here at the very beginning. If I look over here at my key, which is very important, I can see that 2 doubles, a chain 2 and 2 doubles equals a shell. And I can make sure that that is exactly what that is by going back to the written instructions. Once again, those are available at redheart.com, and looking, and you can see that it will tell me, okay, you're going to put a shell stitch in the 5th chain from hook, okay? I can go on then and see I'm skipping 1, 2, 3 chains. I'm going to chain 2 stitches and put a single crochet in the 3rd chain. Chain 3 stitches, skip 2, single crochet. Chain 3 stitches, skip 2, single crochet. Chain 3, skip 2, single crochet. See how that goes along? I can actually see what my stitches are supposed to look like. Sometimes it's easier for people to actually get a visual in this manner than seeing the words. When I get down here, I can see that when I get my last single crochet, I'm going to chain 2 and I'm going to skip 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to do a shell over here as well into the next stitch, skip 1, chain 1, and finish off with the double crochet. Does that make sense? Once I know what all of these symbols mean, piecing together what stitch goes where is as easy as looking at the chart and seeing where those stitches point to in the next or the previous row. By looking at the key over here, I can see all we're doing throughout this entire stitch pattern, we're doing a chain, a single crochet, a double crochet, what is called a shell, and then an increase shell. Now, word to the wise, sometimes when you read a pattern and it will tell you to do a shell, it does not necessarily or always mean what you think a shell is. A shell could be a multiple of different stitches, meaning this shell particular for the Sidewalk Shawl is a combination of 2 doubles, a chain 2, and 2 doubles. In a previous lesson, in other projects I've done, a shell consisted of 5 double crochets. So make sure you always look at the special stitches for every pattern you go out to do. If it says shell or it says any sort of particular stitch, always go back and look at the special stitches or the legend or the key or the abbreviations to make sure that you're actually doing the stitch that you think you need to be doing. Once you carry on to this pattern, so you finished row 1, you go on to row 2, you can see here that it's chain 4, and then you work these stitches as they're indicated. It's really easy just to see each stitch, it's virtually pointing at the area that it needs to be worked into. As I bring my swatch down here and match it up, you can see here all of these areas down here, those were the single crochet, chain 3, single crochet, chain 3, single crochet, chain 2, and then this was my shell, chain 1, and double crochet. As it begins to build on itself, the actual piece you're making, your swatch, will resemble your chart. Okay, so it's really easy for you to stop every now and again and say, okay, does this match up to what I'm doing down here? And you have a very good visual representation when you don't have an actual full sample there to compare to. I hope that this chart will help you create your very own Sidewalk Shawl. I can tell you from experience that it is extremely warm, it's very stunning on, and with the fringe, it creates a very dramatic look, very trendy and fashionable. It's a lot of fun to make. It only uses a couple skeins of Red Heart soft yarn. You can find the free pattern over at redheart.com, and there's also links to all of the materials you would need that you could purchase right there as well. You can find this chart at marleybird.com. I will put a link to it right there. Just click on that, click on the link to the free pattern, and you're good to go. If you have both of them in hand and this is your first time reading a chart, it'll be really great to be able to look at the written instructions and compare them to the way the chart looks, and so you can really advance your chart reading skills. If you need a little bit more instructions on how to read charts, there is a video here on the Marley Bird channel on reading crochet charts, and I show you some of my tips and tricks on how to know and how to decipher some of the symbols as they're created. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial today and you will join me here again. You can catch me over on Facebook at the Marley Bird Facebook page and also in the Ravelry group. I'll catch you guys later. Bye-bye.